of the whole Crimea story,
Yes.
as something we've been talking about an awful lot here in France 24. European sanctions against Russia are quite a topic of debate, aren't they? Whether they've been successful or...
That's right. Or how Europe is going to lean on this one. It's a constant topic of discussion and debate in news studios, across editorial pieces in the European media, French media, etc. Let's take a look at some of those headlines. European rifts emerge over sanctions for Russia because, of course, the whole thing is the energy dependence debate. The fact that Germany, in particular, is extremely dependent as it reduces its nuclear energy on Russian gas and oil. Why Europe can't hit Russia with its biggest club energy sanctions. We've been seeing this dithering going on for the last number of days, with the European leaders looking weaker and weaker as Vladimir Putin is being cast as stronger and stronger, even on this issue in France that we've been seeing in business bulletins, etc., of these military vessels that France is constructing for Russia. Laurent Fabius, the foreign minister, has not given a definitive answer yet on whether or not those sales will go through. It's an extraordinary situation. You have what is a showdown.
They'll go ahead, but only if everyone else also cancels contracts. Because, I mean, this is a very lucrative contract, isn't it?
That's right. So, I mean, economic interests are going before and ahead of geopolitical concerns. And Europe is being cast, I think, somewhat weak. And you have a lot of images, Laura, doing the rounds of social media with quotes, etc., casting various Western leaders as somewhat weak in this regard. Now, this is a quote from John Kerry when he was meeting Sergei Lavrov in London on the 14th of March. We hope President Putin will recognise that none of what we're saying is meant as a threat. It's not meant in a personal way at all.
Oh, he's changed his tone.
Please,
then,
Blackwell, that's it. He has toughened it a little bit. I thought this was quite funny. It came online yesterday on the New Yorker's website, the Borovitz report, which is, of course, satirical. US freezes Putin's Netflix account.
That could hit him where it hurts.
Unless and until Mr. Putin calls off the annexation of Crimea, no more House of Cards or Orange is the New Black for him,
Ouch.
Mr. Kerry said.
He's not going to be able to watch his favourite series. That could
Right.
that could be a big problem for him.
So I think that's the Borovitz report being a big glib about the perception that these sanctions aren't really a very tough response to what is the annexation of territory.
Na from the Kremlin.
A little bit.
Thumbing his nose at the West.
A little bit. What about this one
yes.
in The Onion, Laura? John Kerry poses as masseuse to get a few minutes with Putin. Again, I don't think that's the West being cast as a very strong outfit these days. And look at this. This is another cartoon on Twitter. Referendum. Yes, Crimea is Russian. No, Crimea is not Ukrainian. So I think Ukrainian rather. So on the flip side, Russia, whatever the truth of it, I suppose there is a certain degree of truth in it, that being cast as somewhat tougher. And then there's this famous meme that's been doing the rounds on social media a lot, the whole Crimea River thing. Have you seen that?
I've seen this one.
Shouldn't be flippant about what is quite a serious issue, but that's a lot of people are simplifying it or boiling it down to that sort of thing.
People have been getting very creative, haven't they?
And
I like it.
sticking with the whole nautical theme, Crimea River, etc., the Kerch Strait it now looks like it's going to get a bridge built over it. That was news that came out this afternoon as well. Vladimir Putin saying that a bridge will be built to connect the Crimea to the mainland of Russia. There's a tiny strait between the two. It is, of course, connected to Ukraine without any need for a bridge.
Maybe they'll sever that somehow.
They might get the chainsaw out. Who knows? But there you go.
Don't joke. Okay.
Right.
Meanwhile, I saw that I think it was someone in the Russian Defense Ministry today described Ukraine's argument about the referendum being illegal, about the annexation of Crimea being illegal, as strange and legally ignorant, which I thought was quite amusing. We've seen these kind of statements come out of Russia all week.
Absolutely.
And now the Russian media have got a new edge to their argument. They're saying, hang on a minute. What about an independence referendum for Venice?
That's right. Take a look at this headline in RussiaToday.com. Crimea, no Venice. Independence referendum in EU goes almost unnoticed. Except actually it doesn't, because the European media has been talking about it quite extensively over the last few days. Venice organises, and it was an online vote, and it's going on all week.
We were talking about Catalonia yesterday, weren't we?
That's right. And indeed, if this were to happen, and Venice there are always, it's sort of like in certain parts of Spain as well, these secession movements, it would bring it back to 1,000 years ago when it was an independent republic, which brings me to the video that I wanted to play yesterday, which media have picked up. Media have been picking up on this all over the place. Is Crimea just a blip? Asks The Independent. And this video has been getting a lot of play. It's not altogether new, but I suppose it illustrates the extent to which borders have moved around in Europe over the last 1,000 years with the great
Yeah, you should
Russian
really
bear.
check this one out. Where can people find this?
You can, if you Google 1,000 years of European history, 1,000 years of European borders
It is.
changing, you'll find it pretty easily. It's on liveleak.com up here. And I suppose it illustrates the extent to which the relatively few changes in borders in the last 100 years is not consistent with the
Typical of-
1,000-year
right.
history that we've seen before.
And it's got some very dramatic music that
Absolutely.
accompanies it. All right, James,
Absolutely.
thank you very much
Thanks,
indeed.
Laura.
James Creedon there with Media Watch. Now it's time for our focus report. Now they say they're